Hello and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So here we are, in the dead of the winter season. It is shortly before Christmas, hence my Christmas sweater. And I decided to make this video because I am sitting here this evening about to go through my seed collection and decide which seeds I might like to use for next year. And here's one of the dogs. They like to photobomb. So, if you hear noise in the background, it's probably one of the three huskies. They all got bones, large bones for pre-Christmas gifts, and so they are enjoying them. But anyway, since I am sitting at home, it's snowing outside, it is cold, it's almost Christmas, there's nothing left to do outside, everything has been put to bed. What I usually do in the winter is I collect the new seed catalogs, which tend to come out about December-ish, January, for most of the major seed companies. And if you don't know already, most of the major seed companies will provide you with a free seasonal yearly catalog in print form. Some are better than others. Of course, the ones with nice colorful pictures are always the best ones. Some of them, they might want you to pay for a print copy, or there may just be an online copy. But if you can, it's always nice to have those because it gives you a chance to sit back and plan and dream. And that's what I like to do in the winter. I like to plan for my upcoming garden. So, and I'm going to try to make this relatively brief, although I am long-winded. So I only have a couple of seed catalogs. I think I went through several of them that I already got in, and once I went through them, I just kind of threw them out, except for Baker Creek or rareseeds.com, which is Baker Creek heirloom seeds. That's probably the company I order from most. They do have a free version of their catalog, which is a little bit thinner than this one. This is the paid version. So for, I think it's $10 for the catalog, you can order their whole seed catalog. They usually produce one each year, and it's beautiful. I mean, just beautiful color photos of all the seeds, and also backstories on different seeds, where they originated, backstories on different plants, where they originated. A few recipes are in here. So this is my favorite seed catalog. As you can see, it's like an old school department store catalog. It is pretty thick. So I spent a lot of time with this in the winter, and it gets me through those cold and dreary days. And then I have another one here from Seed Saver Exchange. I have actually never ordered from them, but they have a nice colorful catalog as well. Burpee does a print catalog as well. That's colorful and bright. And I'm trying to think of who else. There's probably a couple of others. Botanical Interest is one that I usually will get catalogs from. And there may be some other thin ones. There are a lot of them that don't have beautiful pictures, that are just print, and I'm not that into those. I do order most of my seeds from Baker Creek. Also, I order from Burpee quite a bit. Burpee tends to have more of a selection, I think, of live plants. Some things are hard to grow from seed, or it would take so long that you just kind of want to buy a plant. Some of the herbs, for example, and I like to have a variety of herbs in my garden, so I tend to order some of my plants from Burpee. Gurney's is a new one that I've just started ordering from. They also do colorful catalogs. But I have started ordering potatoes from them. I think it's what I've been ordering most recently. Sweet potatoes, and I think I have pre-ordered my white and sweet potatoes for the upcoming year from them as well. I do like Gurney's. They tend to have good coupon deals on their stuff. So, in terms of organization, there are several things that I use, and I can't show you them all because it will require a computer, but the number one thing I use is a online program, app, service, I don't know what you want to call it. It has a yearly subscription fee, and it's from GrowVeg. So if you look up growveg.com on the internet, you will find them. And they have a garden planner. I'm not sure of the exact fee. I think it's about $20 a year. But it is a very nice program that lets you plot out a visual of your garden. You put in like the measurements of your different garden beds. You can put in structures that you have in your garden. You can then put in whatever plants or crops you plan to grow. This program keeps track of your garden plan year after year for up to, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And so it allows you to rotate things as you need to. It tells you when you're trying to plant things together that aren't compatible, or when you're trying to plant a certain kind of crop in a spot where you've planted that same crop within the last year or so, if you're into crop rotation. So I find that program very helpful for me as a new gardener. I mean, I just finished my first actual full season of having a full garden. So that program was invaluable because I did not know what I was doing. I did not know what to plant where, how many. It also tells you that how many of a certain plant you can put in a certain amount of space. So I found that very helpful, and I tend to use that every year to kind of lay out the types of veggies and fruits I'm going to plant. And then from there, I take that plan and I look at my seed catalogs or my seed collection, and I decide what varieties of that kind of plant that I want to put in that spot. So if on my plan for next year there is a certain amount of space dedicated to broccoli, I will go through my catalogs or through my seed collection and decide what types of broccoli I want to plant in that spot. And the program will tell me how many of those plants I can put there. So I really enjoy that. That's really helpful. I also have an app, and I can't even think of the name of it. It may be called Garden Planner. Let me see if I can look it up. But it is Garden Manager. It is an app that I just came across on the App Store. I think I may have a subscription. I'm not sure if I'm using the free version or the subscription. But the thing I like about the Garden Manager is it's like a alarm or timer based system, in that you put in all the plants you want to plant. You put in when you need to sow them, or when you need to plant the seedlings, when you need to transplant them outside, and it keeps track of all that, and it will give you reminder alerts when it's time. And that's how I keep track of a lot of things, because I plant a lot of different vegetables, herbs, flowers, fruit, and so I can't keep track of all that in my head. I plant multiple varieties of everything. And so this kind of keeps me on track in terms of getting seedlings and things started when I need to in the season. And of course, that's all going to be based upon your last frost date, whatever that is. I'm in zone 6B, Kalamazoo, Michigan. And so my last frost date is about May 15th. Okay. So most of my crops that I plant from seedlings that I have grown myself. Some things I plant direct from seed, but most of it I do seedlings. I grow my own seedlings because that's cost effective. So I need to time that so that my seedlings will be big and strong enough to go outside when it's time for them to go outside, and to have enough time for them to flourish so that I can harvest something, before the season's over. So Garden Manager, I use that. I also use, a program that I've talked about in one of my other videos. Oh, what is it called? It's for identification of plants, of weeds, of damage to certain crops. You can take a picture of it, and this program will tell you what likely caused that damage to that plant. And I think it is, let's see, because I got two of them. It's called, here it is. Why am I having a hard time here? It's called Picture This. And And there are several programs that are apps that do that. And they, you know, a lot of these things have a free version or a free trial. I did purchase a subscription to Picture This because it was the one I liked best. So like I said, being a new gardener, it can be very difficult for me to tell the difference between a weed and something that I planted when they're pretty young, because they kind of look alike. A lot of things look alike out there until they, you know, are mature. And so I can just take a picture of it with my phone, and this app will tell me what it likely is that I have out there. And it'll even keep track. You know, you can add it to the list of things you have in your garden, and it'll keep track of it for you. So without, you know, that in the garden planner, it would be more of a struggle than it already is for me. So, like I said, in the winter, I spend my time going through seed catalogs and planning. So, let's talk about the plan, shall we? Okay, so what I have done already is I have gone through my seeds, decided what I needed to order, because I have a lot of seeds, and you know, obviously there are many that I can use the subsequent years, but there are also many that I depleted and I needed to order. Now, in terms of seed storage, this is how I store my seeds. Not saying it'll work for everyone, but it works for me. I have found these cases on, and I probably saw this on another YouTube video, but I got these are like photo cases. Big photo cases, like for actual photographs. So I found these on probably Amazon, and then they come with these little inserts that are big, you know, about 4 by 6, I would say, to hold actual photos. Well, I use in the whole seeds, and so I alphabetize my seeds and put them in these little containers. This one happens to be peas. Let's see, Super Sugar Snap and Sugar Magnolia. So I won't need to buy any peas, definitely. So I organize them alphabetically in these containers. Right now it's a hot mess. It needs to be organized. But basically that is how I keep track of all my veggie seeds. So as you can see, this thing holds like 16 of these containers, and I alphabetize it. And I have 2 of these. So that's how I organize the majority of my seeds. This is just a little Tupperware type container, and in this container I keep my flowers and herbs. I like to keep those separately just because they require sometimes different processes. A lot of the flower seeds that I do often require like a pre-chill. I don't know the technical name for it, but they want you to chill the seed before you actually plant it to make a seedling. So I literally put them in the refrigerator for so many weeks to mimic, I guess, winter, and then I bring them out and I plant them. So any flower or herb, like this is oregano, I just throw them in here and try to throw them in here and try to alphabetize them. Alphabetize? Why am I having a hard time with that word? So that's what I do there to kind of keep those separate, because I do use kind of a separate planting process for flowers and herbs for the most part. And a lot of times herbs you want to sow successively, meaning you want to keep a fresh supply over the whole summer. So you would maybe sow a few seeds every 2 weeks or every month, depending on the herb. You know, something like basil, you don't just want one batch of it. You want to kind of stagger so you have some throughout the whole year to cook with. All right, so that's what I do for my organization. So if you have some you know, method that you use that is easier or a neat idea, share it in the comments. So I got some things in the mail recently, and this bag I've just thrown in like all the seeds I kind of want to plant for this upcoming season, as well as the new packages that I'm getting in. So I have 2 here, and I thought I would save them to go over with you. I can't even remember what I ordered. I ordered seeds and you know, batches. So this one is from Burpee, actually, and Looking at the list here, there are many packages of seeds that I've ordered from Burpee. Burpee has a very plain seed packet. So, you know, it doesn't have a pretty picture on it, but the one thing about Burpee is it has pretty good sowing recommendations on their seed packs. So they do give you a little bit of information, but their packs are pretty bare. So, let's see. Cauliflower, celery, one tomato, which is, I have a lot of tomato seeds, but this was my favorite from this past season. It's called a Honey Delight Hybrid from Burpee, and it produced a cocktail size, so bigger than a cherry tomato, cocktail size yellow, deep yellow tomato that was extremely sweet and extremely prolific. I was picking those things every week for months, a couple of months. So I got some broccoli and cilantro, Swiss chard, spinach. I eat a lot of leafy greens throughout the season, throughout the whole year actually. Even, you know, a lot of the leafy greens will do well in cool weather. And I do have a couple of cold frames that I use on my raised beds. And so even right now, you know, it's not quite officially winter yet. It's right before Christmas, but it's cold outside. It's been snowing all day. And in my raised bed that's on my front porch, it is full of bok choy or pak choy, one of the Asian leafy greens, and they are doing well. And so soon I'll be harvesting those and eating those. I got some bush beans in here. I like the French green beans, so I think that's probably a French variety. Chervil. Another bean I thought I'd try, it's called an asparagus bean, yard long. So this is one that can grow up to a foot long, I believe. So I'm going to try to have that one trellised up one of my structures. But I just thought it'd be interesting to grow those because I've never grown a bean that long. More cauliflower. I got some corn. Yes, I grew one row of corn, and you know, given that I garden in a subdivision backyard, I don't have a lot of space. So I either plant things close together and or trellis them up to maximize my space. Now I understand that planting things closer together means that I'll have smaller vegetables or smaller fruit, and I'm okay with that because I am a family of 2. So we don't need a ton of food, but I do like growing my own corn. It was a fun experience. The corn was delicious. I may even still have a little bit left in the freezer. And so I plan to do more corn than I did last time. I like doing the unusual ones, the ones that have multicolored kernels. This one is a Suntava full season purple hybrid. So purple corn. And then it looks like I got flowers. I love sunflowers, so I usually plant those along with the corn. This upcoming season I plan to plant a lot of sunflowers. So I got some flowers here. Sunflowers, snapdragons, bells of Ireland, coleus, and salvia, and another sunflower. So those are the ones I just received not too long ago from Burpee. And also, you know, with it being the holiday season, like everywhere else, the seed companies, the gardening companies will have sales, holiday sales, Black Friday sales, all of that stuff. So that's probably a good time to buy stuff. You know, you get a little bit of a discount, save it for the upcoming season. The other thing I wanted to show you is this box I got from Botanical Interest. Now I do order from them, as well as the other 2 I mentioned, Rare Seeds, which I probably order the most from them. Second would be Burpee. Third would probably be Botanical Interest. And then fourth would be probably Gurney's, I would say, if I had to rate them. So Botanical Interest, I really do like their selection of seeds. They're not as big as some of the others, but they're quality seeds. Also, they give you this beautiful packaging, which, you know, you can't help but take notice of. The rest come in like a, you know, like a little envelope or something. They will send you a beautiful little box, decorated box, which opens up. And then when you open it, there is always this beautiful parchment type of little slip of paper on top, and it says happy growing botanical interest. So I just think their packaging is beautiful, in addition to them having good seeds and good prices. They are not unreasonable at all. They usually give you a little seed starting guide. They also usually will give you a free pack of seeds, and this time I got mesclun lettuce as my free pack. Usually it's lettuce, sometimes it's green beans from these different places, but usually it's some kind of lettuce. Burpee does not give you anything free, so shame on Burpee, because Burpee is more expensive than a lot of the other ones, I will say, but they don't give you anything free. Rare Seeds usually gives you a free pack of seeds with every order as well. So from them, I have, let's see, petunias, which I love planting those in the summer. And in years past, I've always bought them from the home stores. You know, you buy the little 6-pack or whatever, do your little pots that, at least for me, I put them on the front porch, and you know, they're beautiful, and you mix other things in there. But this year I decided I want to try growing my own, because $2.69 here for 25 seeds. So I'm paying way more than that, 2-3 times more than that for a little 6-pack at, you know, my home store. So if I can get them to grow, that will be very practical for me. Botanical Interest is the only seed company I have found that sells these Clancy Potato seeds. Now, most people grow potatoes from, you know, little baby potatoes, potato sets, and I usually use those too. But I really enjoyed these seeds. This is the only seed potato, and there probably are other companies that sell this seed potato, but they call it something else. I noticed that each seed company takes really the same seed, and they give it a little twist to the name, but it's the same thing, you know, if you look at the Latin kind of name for it. Anywho, the Clancy Potato I did grow this past season. It gave me nice little potatoes, and it also gave me potato, I don't know, berries, seeds, whatever you call them, but the green leafy material developed these little circular seeds. At least that's what someone told me in the comment section on one of my videos, because I didn't know what it was. They look like grapes or olives, but they're seeds. So I dried those. I saved several of them, dehydrated them, and I'm going to plant them and see if they do anything. But and it produces very beautiful purple flowers. Most of the potatoes I planted give you white flowers. This has a purple flower. So I really like the Clancy, and I'll keep growing those. More Swiss chard. I think that's a different variety. I got chives, summer savory, which is an herb that I've never grown. Echinacea, which I was not successful at growing this past year. It's a very good medicinal plant, so I definitely want echinacea. Something called shiso, which is an Asian substitute for basil. And it says you can use it in basil pesto, try it tossed with rice noodles. So it is kind of an Asian red, and there are red and green leaves, and it's some kind of substitute for basil. So I thought I'd just try it. I've never had it before, never even heard of it. And then I think mostly I got flowers from them. I got Alyssum Ami, which I never heard of, Ami. I think I just got it because it had a white petal to it, and as I was planting my little flower areas, I needed something white in there, so I got that. Carnations, I really like planting flowers that can be used as cut flowers, because I love having flowers inside the house, fresh flowers, and so I'm trying to get me a little cutting garden going. More coleus, some impatiens, lupine, Shasta daisies, statice, and stalk. It's like a tall, slender flower. They're multicolored. So that's all I got from them. And I don't know a lot about planting flowers. You know, this past year, When I planted my first full garden, I planted flowers alongside all of that simply to attract pollinators, but I really don't know a lot about flowers. I know color schemes that I'm going for. I have planted literally hundreds now this past fall of spring bulbs. So I have a ton of tulips and daffodils and all the other ones that come up in spring that are already out there in the ground. And these are all going to be kind of my summer flowers to replace those as they are dying out. So I'm very excited. So that, I think I've covered everything. That's pretty much how I plan things out. So once I decide everything I truly want to plant, what I'm going to do this year is put all those in here just to keep them separate from the bigger containers, because otherwise I will not remember which variety, because I have so many different varieties of each type of plant. You know, for example, if we're talking sweet peppers, I may have, you know, 6 varieties of sweet peppers in my collection, or 10 or 12 varieties of hot peppers in my collection. So I really have to pick and choose. I can't plant everything. I don't have enough space for that. So I kind of, go by what I liked this past year, what grew well for me, and then, you know, just kind of looking at the ratio, like realistically, how many am I going to use? I can't tolerate a lot of heat, so anything beyond jalapeno hot is not for me. But I do like jalapenos, and I do at some point want to get into making my own hot sauce. I have not mastered that yet, but that's something I like to explore. And then, you know, things that grew for me well this past year, I will try to repeat some of that. Things that didn't grow for me well, I am going to focus in on trying to figure out what I did wrong. And I have ideas, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to try some new things. I had a hard time with garlic. I noticed with my potatoes, they were small, and I planted all those in containers or bags. The sweet potatoes, one thing I noticed about the sweet potatoes, I planted those in big totes, but what ended up happening is the roots went all the way to the bottom of the tote before it started making fruit or veggies. And so they were then kind of bound up at the bottom of the container, because that's where they formed. And so that created small sweet potatoes as well. I do not want to plant them directly in the ground. And the reason why is because I experimented with that. I planted a couple of the sweet potatoes in the ground, and it was very hard for me to dig them up without breaking into them, you know, without damaging several of them. I think you need a really light, fluffy soil to plant potatoes in the ground. That's my guess. Like something like peat moss, like really light and fluffy. And I don't know that I could create that in the ground, because my dirt tends to compact over time, especially with the rain and everything. It just gets more compacted. And so I'm going to try it again and see what I can do to make a light and fluffy environment for the potatoes, because I would like just bigger potatoes. I mean, I got a decent number of white potatoes, quite a few, even though they were small. I did not get as many sweet potatoes as I anticipated, and I planted a lot of those, and the ones I got were pretty small. Also, they haven't stored well. I cured them as you're supposed to for a couple of weeks out in my potting shed, you know, let them dry out and all that stuff. And even so, they don't seem to be storing well. I have them in a cool place in my basement, and they seem to be quickly drying out. Some of them molded, and I had to throw those out. So I got to work on my sweet potato game, white potato game, and garlic. Now with my garlic, it rotted literally when spring came around, and I had it in grow bags, which are very porous. So it wasn't a matter of they weren't draining well, it seemed. So I don't know. It was very rainy here this year, even through the summer. I rarely had to supplemental water. It was so much rain here. So I don't know. What I did do this time is I planted them in containers or totes, but I put the lids on them now that it's cold and winter here. And so I'm figuring that will keep the moisture at bay so they won't get as wet. And then I will take the lids off when the spring comes, and I hope that that does the job. I don't know where I left off, but I will take you on the adventure with me as we go forward. The next gardening thing we'll probably talk about is planting seedlings or starting seedlings, and maybe I will show you my seed starting areas. I have, oh my gosh, how many? I think I got 3 areas that I start seeds in. And when I say areas, I mean I have shelving set up. I have some kind of plastic cover to keep the heat and humidity and all that in. I have grow lights, I have fans, even heating mats if I need those. So I have 3 of those areas. In addition, I have a large grow tent where I can overwinter things if I'd like, or grow some things over the winter. So a lot going on around here, and I will take you on that journey. So that is all I got for today. Hopefully this one isn't too long. I always say that. So if you haven't already, click the thumbs up, click like, and subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get alerts of the upcoming videos, which still should be every Wednesday. I'm coming up on my 1 full year. I said I would commit initially to a year of weekly videos, and I've kept my word to myself, and so we're getting close to that year mark. So once the year is up, I don't know how frequently I will create them, since not a lot of people watch them. You know, it's just maybe not the best use of my time if no one's going to watch them. So we'll revisit it. They may be less frequent, but I will continue to do them, just if nothing else, for me as a record of my growth and the changes in my garden over time. All right, so that's it for this video. Take care of yourselves. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you for joining me. All right, bye-bye.